especially, when both my youngest children was going to college, because that's really, the time that they're now on their own, learning the skills that you've given them prior to going to college. And even my oldest boy, when he moved on his own. And what my daughter noticed, and my son, was that he lived with roommates that didn't know how to do their laundry. And we laugh all the time. We see this on television as a joke, that when kids bring their laundry home, or when, kids say, oh, I don't know how to, wash between my whites and my coloreds. We laugh. But that's a serious situation. I remember growing up, my grandmother and my aunt used to always get on my aunt about how she took care of herself during, the times we as women are changing through our seasons, and not being just, throw it away, or just, not mindful of how we clean ourselves during these different times of the year, or different times of the month. And you would realize that you think that your parents are nitpicking you until you actually get to see in college or living on your own with roommates that, wow, learning responsibility actually was helpful, was useful, where you saw that for others that you would live with that did not get that upbringing because they were in a situation where that entitlement was present. Because sometimes parents, we're trying to do things different than the way our parents did it. We're trying to have less restrictions. We're trying to, not be their friend, but not necessarily be like this, this dictator over them the way that our parents. We're trying to, be lighter. And in being lighter and being more encouraging, you can do it. The world is yours. That's where that catch-22 of entitlement comes in, where when they get to a certain age where they don't know how to do something, or they don't want to do something, they're like, well, I'll just hire someone, or I'll just bring it home to my mother, or I'll just, have my mom do it. And we end up paying the cost, and they end up paying the cost. Does that make sense? So this last video kind of wraps up what I was thinking, or how I was learning to adapt, or even be okay with what I've done up until now. Because parenting has not stopped. But what up until now I've done as a parent so far. This last video is Michelle Obama, and she is talking about parenting, partnerships, and turning your rage into change. Check it out.
But you still have to be ready for your kids to evolve. Who they are at 4 and 7 is not what they need from you is very different from what they need from you as teenagers, and then again as young women. But if you've laid a foundation of trust and honesty, every stage I found is wonderful. It's full. It's exciting. I don't miss any stage. I loved every stage of parenting my girls, but I wouldn't go back to any of the stages. I don't long for the time when they were babies. I love that time. Breastfeeding, when you could sit and hold them and look at them forever. But now that they're young women, and now I'm less of a day-to-day manager and more of an advisor, there's a freedom to enjoy them as individuals, to watch them grow. And I think that's been the case for me and my mom as well.
With your girls, though, has that been comfortable for you, the idea of stepping back from that manager role and letting them lead, letting them be the people who make you and your husband, as you say, weak martinis when you come and visit their apartment? I couldn't stop laughing when I read that.
Well, it is a hard thing to do, to let your kids be. In this era of helicopter parenting, where I think parents are very, maybe overly involved in their kids' lives. I was raised to be handed my competence early. My mother raised her, as I write in the book, she says her job is to put herself out of a job early. So she started at a very early age, requiring us to be independent. As early as kindergarten, she gave us alarm clocks because she knew that we were capable of getting ourselves up. She wanted us to feel the power of our competence. So from 5 years old, I was setting an alarm. Uh, Soon thereafter, I was walking to school by myself. And what that does for a kid when your parent trusts you, you know, it it encourages you. It tells you that if my mom thinks I can do this, then I must be capable. And I've tried to instill that same kind of stand by the gate and watch your kids fly. Be there for them when they come back. Let them know that you will be their advocate, but don't step in and try to live their lives for them. And so when I see my kids flourishing in that